From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big evening of evening late, as tonight 81% of Americans polled in a brand new poll believe the U.S. economy will be going into recession this year. I have the breaking news on a game-changing big night across the board. As you have been told by me on this channel since February, we're going to recession next year, but tonight, the situation is dramatically changing. 81% of all Americans polled believe the U.S. economy will be in recession later this year. The good news is that there's going to be two groups of people. People who got stimulus when it was available and people who waited around. You ain't going to wait around. In tonight's recording, we go over that fourth stimulus check update of 2022. As a fourth stimulus check is in every U.S. state. I'll go over that incredible check and how you get it. It's tonight. It's here. It's right this moment. You need to get it. People sitting around and waiting for things by the mailbox, they're going to be in big trouble next year as that recession will hit badly. The latest breaking news tonight on the recessionary worries and the recessionary recognition happening tonight. I've been reporting about this since February, but tonight 81% of Americans believe this U.S. economy is going down quicker than initially even thought. I have the breaking details across the board. Negotiations back underway with the Build Back Better Act to get the vote by Memorial Day weekend. That would give you additional checks on top of the four stimulus checks that are in every U.S. state. How do you get these four stimulus checks that are in every U.S. state? Stay with me over this 1 hour broadcast, a special report from the shores of Santa Monica, California tonight. We'll go over these incredible checks. They're available in every U.S. state, and you can get them if you're a member. Go into that membership newsletter Monday through Friday. Hit that membership link under this video. Join Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. In tonight's recording, we have a lot to go over. We'll go over supply chain disruption. We'll go over student loan debt forgiveness. We'll go over the SS300. We'll go over money for seniors and veterans and more. We'll go over the stocks, the bonds, the Putin situation, also the gasoline, and the price of the products in the markets. If you thought it's bad right now, get ready for what's coming up thereafter. It's a breaking news report like you've never seen ever on this channel. It's evenings, and it starts right now. And good evening, everybody. For May 20th, 2022, Americans now believe that the U.S. economy will be in recession this year. That is a brand new poll released minutes ago. 81% of people polled says the recession is coming, and not just next year, this year. Why has the situation changed so dramatically? What does this mean for your money? What does it mean for stimulus? What does it mean for Build Back Better Act, fifth stimulus, sixth stimulus, and seventh? We'll be going over all that in this incredible recording. I got to tell you, this is unlike any recording you ever see in the history of this channel. Why? Because it gives us a new fork in the road. The fork in the road will have half of us, actually all the viewership of this channel, the membership of this channel, going one direction, the fork in the road, and everyone else going the other way. What's the other way? People standing by the mailbox saying, when is it directly going to come to me? A stimulus check. When is the Build Back Better Act vote happening? Those type of people, and then all of us. All of us. Who are we? We are the people who are getting checks today. Checks today because I've been warning about what this recession would mean for you. And you're getting financial independence today, May 20th, 2022. You ain't waiting for anyone, and you're getting those big checks, four stimulus checks in every U.S. state. We're going to go over those incredible checks in tonight's recording as the magnitude of the severity of this economy has now come to Main Street America. And with that, let's start with the breaking news tonight. The breaking news tonight from the shores of Santa Monica, California, is that Americans now recognize what I had been reporting back in February, and people were sort of shocked when I first said it. Let's take it a step back even further to understand what is going on right now. A fourth stimulus check is in every U.S. state right tonight. That is huge, and I'm going to get it later for you in this recording. Stay at the very end. It's a lot of money. It's not $600. It's $80,000. If you're single, if you're married, with children, without children, on benefits, not on benefits, seniors, young, I can get you this check. And I'm fighting to get you every single check that I can get you. In fact, it's not one check in every U.S. state. It's at least 4. But we're not done there yet. There's the Build Back Better Act that could potentially get other checks across the board. In tonight's recording, we're going to achieve 3 things. First, we're going to achieve financial independence. 2, we're going to learn about where we're going economically so you're prepared ahead of time. And we're going to get money. Sounds like a good show? It is a good show. Let's start with the breaking news tonight, which is everyone else, not you and I, has now woken up. In February this year, I said we're going into recession for 2 years starting in January 2023. And at the time, I was the only one saying this. In fact, I remember saying it to someone before I even went on air, and they looked at me. They said, "Did you say recession?" I said, "Yeah, I said recession." "Wait a second. Why do you believe we're going into recession?" I said this in February. There's one thing I'm good at doing is predicting economic elements ahead of time, predicting financial movements, and predicting where things are going financially and economically. And at the time I said, we're going to recession next year. Then I started recording those recordings on this channel in February. I said, get ready and get every pot of money you can get that's on the table from forced stimulus right today, because it's going to be very bad when this recession hits. Then, over the last few months, from February all the way up to May 20th, I've been giving you the economic data. And it got worse and worse and worse. You had trust in me, and I had trust in you. Why? Because I got this right last year. As someone very critical to the equation got it very wrong. And his name is Jay Powell. Jay Powell, which has become affectionately the Temple of Doom 2022, got it so hideously wrong that all the trouble we are in tonight is because of him. He said that inflation was going to come in at 2 to 3% last December and be transitory, temporary. I said he's 100% wrong. It was me and Jeremy Siegel. That was it. Jeremy Siegel, the Wharton School business professor, and me, the kid who was accepted to Wharton and said no. I'm not joking. So what happened? Jeremy Siegel said, I see higher inflation for December at the time. He said 12%. I said 8%. It came in at 8%. Inflation in December, I said not temporary. I said inflation's going to stay up. And it did go up. It went up higher. That is what caused this implosion that's happening tonight. Because inflation was not battled or approached or predicted correctly by Jay Powell last year, then he had to catch up. And what did he catch up with? A 1/4 basis point increase at the FOMC meeting of April. Not enough. Then 1/2 basis point in May. But before that May FOMC meeting, what was happening with Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, and all the negotiations of that Build Back Better Act? They were meeting Joe, Chuck, and Bernie to get this lined up for the midterm elections. Now, at that time, I had said to you, there's a series of things going on with them. Number 1, the president's poll rate is falling dramatically in April. Number 2, also the inflationary pressures really hurting a lot of people then in April. And so what happened going into early May? In early May, we had a prediction of a 1/2 basis point coming in from Federal Reserve Jay Powell for that FOMC meeting, and then Amazon. Amazon started the domino effect. Amazon announced its corporate earnings for Q1 2022, major miss. And while a lot of people thought it's just Amazon, you and I knew it was not just Amazon. It was about to become you and me as well. What happened earlier this week? Retail sales numbers came in. They're relatively bland, as featured on Afternoons 2 hours ago. They were relatively bland. These were May 17th numbers. And then Walmart hit us like a hammer. Target hit us like a hammer. Kohl's last night hit us like a hammer. And suddenly, people started to wake up. It was the implosion of the stock market, which started no less than the day after that FOMC meeting of May, where I said, this is the epiphany moment. This is where everything you know on this channel is going to be known by other people very quickly. They're going to realize that their stocks are down 52-week highs. Let me just tell you some of the numbers tonight. PayPal, Netflix, and Moderna are down 75% up from the 52-week high. We're in bear territory. We're in bear territory tonight with the stock market. Emphatically, unequivocally, indisputably tonight. But look at these holdings. 52-week highs. Now, if you bought PayPal this year, you're losing your shirt. Netflix, Moderna, this is just some stocks. This week's decline felt as if the market was starting to recognize that earnings growth in the S&P profitability may be in jeopardy. So wrote David Wagner, portfolio manager at Apis Capital. It's those type of comments, which I've been featuring on this channel for the last 2 weeks, are going to get people in trouble. I don't agree with comments like this. That the downturn of the stock market thinks that signals that profitability for stocks may be in jeopardy. Of course it's going to be in jeopardy. We're going to have 3 years of down markets. We're going to be down this year in the stock market, down the year after that, and down the year after that, because guess why? 2 years of recession. 2 years of recession reported by me back in February. Tonight, 81% of Americans believe the recession starting this year. Why this year? This week's decline felt as if the market was starting to recognize the situation. And then comes George Bell, who's from Sanders, Morrison, Harris. Stocks are liberally priced, and the psychology that drove them up for a decade has turned them negative. Consumer confidence evaporated. Consumer confidence is how strong people have confidence in the situation. And I don't think a single Republican, I don't think a single Democrat thinks that this economy is good. No one can sit back and wave their hands and celebrate this economy because it ain't happening. Are we going to have a recession? It's pretty likely, says Larry Harris, who is the former chief economist for the SEC minutes ago. It's those type of comments which I featured back in February. I said, you know what? I don't want any more of those comments. Sort of, maybe, kind of. Yeah, we are. We are going to recession for 2 years, starting at least next year. I said that in February. Then Deutsche Bank said it in April. Yeah, it took 2 months for Deutsche Bank to make that announcement. And then Morgan Stanley came 3 weeks ago with a sort of maybe comment. And the sort of maybe comments are coming tonight as well. This is my projection, that by the end of next week or the week after, there won't be any more sort of maybe comments. They're all going to be very definitive comments that we're going into recession. Here's what you need to know, is that you need money right tonight. And the money that you need right tonight is needed more because about what I'm about to tell you. No, I'm not about to talk about recession for next year. I'm going to talk about a big problem that could be less than 30 days away. In fact, I'm going to talk about a series of problems that are less than 30 days away, but I'm not going to go over those yet. I'm going to give you some good news, some exciting, great news, which is in addition to those forced stimulus checks that are in every U.S. state, in addition to those forced stimulus checks that are in every U.S. state, that are upwards of $80,000 that are available for you, that I'm going to get for you later in this video. Yeah, I'm getting you cash in this video. There's big activity tonight on the Build Back Better Act, which would give you additional checks of $15,000 to $80,000. The details tonight are that the negotiations are back underway between a finite group of individuals. How big of a group? It's basically 2 people. It's just 2 people. In 2020, we affectionately had a wonderful show, which I miss dearly, the Steve Mnuchin, Nancy Pelosi Hour. It was a lot of fun, that show. And at this point, I have to bring back a new version of it, Chuck and Joe. Not as catchy a title. Chuck and Joe. Joe Chuck? Chuck Joe? I mean, if you're in the live chat, you always have something funny. Tell me what I should call the show. And I know we could call it What the Chuck, as we did in 2020. Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer are negotiating your Build Back Better Act right now. They started the negotiations just a few hours ago, a few days ago. And this is big news for many reasons. 1, they think they're going to get it done. 2, they want to get it done. 3, they have a meaning and a mission to get it done. Wow. So let's go over the details of what's going on with Chuck Schumer and Joe Manchin. Again, this is additional checks on top of the checks I'm getting you later in this video. The checks I'm getting you later in this video are not 5 months from now, not 5 weeks from now, not 5 years from now. They're right tonight. Chuck Schumer and Joe Manchin have been tasked to negotiate and finalize the Build Back Better Act. Why is this important? Because these 2 individuals, both senators, both Democrats, have worked side by side between each other for many years. They're very, very fond of one another. And Chuck Schumer is seen a very sensualist type of person. And Joe Manchin prides himself on his ability to speak bluntly and directly to Chuck Schumer. They're very direct people, sort of like myself. And that's why I think it's going to work. They say it's going to work. They believe they're going to get it done by the midterm elections. They say, we want to get it done. We want to get it done before the midterm elections. And we, as 2 people, can get it done because of their fondness for each other, their no nonsense, and because they're going to push it like you've never seen pushed. Not included in the negotiations are this guy. Not included in the negotiations is this woman. Not included in the negotiations is this guy. Yeah. So they have reduced it to a 2-person show, and I think it's going to work. If there's one thing you know about Joe Manchin, he does not mince his words. It's refreshing. He'll tell you exactly what he doesn't like about you. Mitch, I've told you 1,000 times, stop showing up to the office in those shorts. Mitch, lobsters are not that popular, especially not in Kentucky. He will tell you exactly what he thinks, and he'll also say, about that hairstyle. That is Joe Manchin. When you're talking about Kristen Sinema, she's sort of like deers in headlight. She's sort of like deers in headlight. Kristen Sinema, what do you think about last night's Real Housewives episode? Are you there, Kristen? Did you freeze up? Yeah, it's just that's why it's refreshing that we hear it's Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer negotiating your Build Back Better Act. Now, how, where, and what? Let's go over the details of that. The how. It will be two-person show. The then. The vote will be going into the Senate first because that's where they work. Then over to the House and then back to the Senate. If there's any changes, then just be signed by the president. The when. They represent that they're going to try to get it done by Memorial Day weekend. Now, let me say this very clearly because I always get misquoted. I hate it. You said we're getting that check in our hand by Memorial Day weekend. No, I just said they think they can get the vote by Memorial Day weekend. And yeah, if you look at the calendar, Colleen, how are you? It's very close, just a few days away. Can they get it done? Well, they'd have to draw it up, negotiate it, get it solidified. Yeah, there's enough time, but this is interesting. The push to get it out, of course, is fueled by the midterm elections. Democrats understand they got to do something. It would look ridiculous if Democrats did nothing. So I think it's going to get done. In fact, I can say a little bit stronger. I believe it's going to get done. I really, really, really believe it's going to get done. The question, though, is what will the Build Back Better Act look like in 2022? Will it look like what we talked about in 2021? I don't think it will. I need you to be financially prepared by getting these forcible checks in every U.S. state tonight, today, this week. Because when you see the finality of Chuck and Joe's negotiations, I don't think it's going to resemble the Build Back Better Act of 2021. Because it's been a year later, the economy is different, and the situation's different. $25,000 for the purchase of your first home? Maybe, still on there. $250 billion of free home health care? Maybe not. Joe Manchin's very against anything for home health care. All that Bernie stuff, dental, vision, and hearing, that's very anti-Joe Manchin. He doesn't like any of that stuff. What about hazard pay? He likes that. No, he does not like hazard pay. What about elder care? He does like that. Children's checks, nutrition checks, checks for a first vehicle, checks for an electric vehicle, home repairs. That's all fine with Joe Manchin. When we get over to, did I say hazard pay? No, he's fine with hazard pay. It's paid leave that Joe Manchin really hates. He hates paid leave. I don't think paid leave is going to survive. Then when we go to that third cluster, everything for the seniors, I think this could be in jeopardy. The dental, the vision, the hearing. When we talk about the MSC, no idea. I mean, really no idea what could happen with any of these items, but it's a totally different year. It's a totally different year and a different negotiating group and a different push. And that is why I need you to be focused and understanding that the forcible checks that are available in every U.S. state tonight are upwards of $80,000. For you, if you're single, if you're married, if you're on disabilities, if you're not, if you have children, if you don't have children, if you're in every single state, that is the money I want you to be cashing and putting away. And I'm going to show you how to get it later in this video. Just to be safe, if something with Build Back Better Act, it looks very different in 2022 than 2021. Again, let me make this clear because people always like to misinterpret what I say. I'm not saying that Build Back Better Act will get changed. I'm not saying that anything in there is not going to happen. I'm just saying I want you to grab wads of cash that are available right now in the event that does potentially happen. Now, let's go back over to why Build Back Better Act has the support of bad economic data this week, and the economic data across the board is so troubling at issue. At issue tonight is a series of major developing details, and I'm going to go over them like I never have done before. I'm going to go over each topic that impacts your wallet and understand why this is important for Build Back Better Act and what you have to do to prepare for it financially. Number one, gasoline. You're paying a lot for gasoline. Post in the live chat how much you're paying right now. Well, if you're a member of this live chat, if you're a member of this channel, you have seen in the membership newsletter nightly, the price of gasoline domestically, AAA national average of unleaded, has gone up very quickly in the last few days. It went up from March to May, and then it settled down. But in the last 7 days, it's really shot up. It was $4.14 last week. It is almost $4.45 tonight. Here's what's happening on that front. Number one, China is coming off of lockdown somewhat, and that coming off of lockdown is going to bring the price of gasoline up enormously, enormously, because they have been on lockdown. They haven't been driving their cars. When they start driving again, there's going to be more shortage of gasoline, and more shortage of gasoline drives the price up. Number two for gasoline. Price of Brent crude has not really moved. Price of Brent crude, which is the international price of gasoline, has been 112. That's a pretty relatively low number. If it heads to 120, imagine what it's going to do to the price of gasoline at the pump. That's number two. Number three, let's go to the wheat and the bread and your food commodities. No solution has been inked by the White House or any of the Western allies to solidify the problems caused by Putin's invasion of Ukraine. And with no solution set, then what does that mean for you? These prices are going to go up big more. But here is where the shocker, the big shocker of tonight hits like a brick. You're at the store, you're buying the milk. You're at the Ross department store and you're buying the clothes. You're at the Home Depot and buying the home improvement nails and hammer. That price point you're seeing tonight is high and you're not liking it. It's inflation. Guess what? Series of analysts today say that may not be the peak of inflation. You may potentially see double-digit inflation coming in the horizon. Wait a second. I thought 8% was the peak of inflation. You mean we're actually getting worse? How could we get worse? Tonight we have insight that the retail sales numbers, that the corporate earnings reports from Target, Walmart, Kohl's, and more signaled that this is a very complex inflationary environment right now, and I'll tell you why. The prices could be going up a lot more. We learned tonight that those corporations and others had been absorbing the costs of supply chain disruption, like higher fuel and shipping and trucking prices, by not passing them on to you. When they reported their corporate earnings this week and this month, they took a bath. They really plummeted. And now they've been indicating that they may not be able to absorb those costs of the supply chain anymore. And guess who they're going to pass those costs over to? You. And so this is why some analysts, and I'm not so subscribing to this theory yet, but I got to tell you, it's very compelling to hear about it. It may be true that the price inflation that you're seeing in your favorite goods may go up staggeringly higher into double-digit inflation because those companies had not passed their costs over to you. Supply chain disruption is very difficult to report on because you and I don't know how Target gets the goods into the store. And if it's a pair of shoes versus a bottle of milk, it's very different analysis. And we don't know it unless they tell it to us. This is why it's very confusing. Now, let's go to the other part of the equation. This is something that's very confusing as well. We'll learn tonight that what happened in a lot of these retail operations is they bought products for you. They did not ship on time because of supply chain disruption. This is the shipping problem. Not that there's a limit of goods. This is a shipping problem. The goods did not get to the stores in time, and guess what happened? When they arrived on hot time, when they eventually arrived not on time, the products were out of season. So they couldn't move the products. They couldn't sell them. Now, stores like Ross department stores, Dress for Less, are having to discount for less because they have too much inventory and it's not moving. Big problem. Then what's the next problem? Your employment. Retailers like Walmart said, there's too many employees on the floor. We brought too many people back from COVID to work on the floor and we hired too many people. Yes, get ready for major employment situations changing. I'm not saying that any company has announced a labor layoff, but I'm predicting that you're going to see major layoffs as these companies understand they got products not moving in the stores. Now, earlier this week, I told you on Evenings Lalate that the stores like Target reported troubling, horrible corporate earnings reports when they said we could not sell the products at the current price point of inflation. Guess what? Imagine that they think that a lot of analysts tonight believe that these big corporations may increase the prices of your goods even higher than they are tonight. Boy, folks, that is a lot to digest, and that is why it's important to get every darn stimulus check you can get. And that is why I'm showing you, focusing on you to get these checks across the board. It's a fork in the road, one way and another way. The path that you and I are taking is path to financial independence. We are going on a path to grabbing checks along the way, routinely, every single week, every few days. Every stimulus check we can grab that I can record and show you where to grab. And that is where we're trying to navigate into the recessionary environments of 2023 and 2024. The other fork in the road is not you, not us. What's going to happen with that type of person? Person doesn't listen, person doesn't watch, person doesn't educate themselves, person who hears things 6 months later, 3 weeks later, the person who found out about a recession in 2023 tonight that didn't hear on this channel back in February. That's the person going another fork in the world. That is also the person who stands by the mailbox, says, what month is a check landing in my bank account? That is also the person who says, what states have checks? When I say every night on this recording, there's a forcible check in every recording, in every state. That is the person who says, when are they going to send out the special check for SSI? When are they going to send out the special check for VA? That's the person who doesn't listen, doesn't learn, doesn't get up to date, and the person who doesn't watch the videos routinely, that person's going on the other road. I don't want to tell you where that other road's going to go for that other group of people who don't listen, don't learn, and don't pounce. But I got to tell you, if you think it's bad for them right now, you ain't ever seen anything until you get a recession. The reports tonight are really talking about what I've been speaking about in the last 3 months, that no one really understands a recession unless you go through it. And that a lot of Americans who are of adult age tonight were not in the last recession. They did not experience it. They were not born or they were not old enough to economically feel the impact of the last recession. And I've also been reporting that stagflation, which we do not know if we're going to have as well, which is where you have increased inflation and recession. If we have stagflation starting next year, boy, no one, I don't think, in less than 50 years of age has seen that as well. When you go into these recessionary environments, things change very quickly, and they're changing tonight across the board. Let's talk about the data that came in the last 48 hours. First, we had the housing starts, just continually missing. The housing starts were showing that people were very smart. They were very smart, perhaps, listening to this channel, and they were getting out those homes in February or buying into the homes in February. Why? If you're in real estate, either as a buyer or a seller, you were making those moves by about February, meaning you were going into contract on the homes in January. So you close like a 30-day escrow. You close in February, get out or get into the home. Why? Everyone and their sister and brother who watches this channel knew, because I said it, that the mortgage rates was going to go up. And that was going to hurt the sellers and hurt the buyers. So the numbers, when we looked at those housing numbers earlier this week for May 17th, they were good. It showed that the selling time of the homes was less than 17 days. And it showed that the prices of the homes went up, even though the number of sales was down. But as the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors said when releasing the numbers, you know what, says Lawrence Yoon, these are numbers for people who went into contract in February. Get ready to see the contracts for people who went into contract in May or April. Why? Because inflation has now, Jay Powell has now brought these mortgage rates from 3.5% in February to over 5% tonight. And we're not done there yet. What else is Jay Powell doing? What is also Joe Biden not doing? Joe Biden is not making that swap and cold to inflation, and this is where it gets darn right disgraceful. If you've been watching me for the last few days, this is sort of the point at which I bite my lip because I really, really want to amp up the volume and not blow out the microphone. It gets under my skin. It gets under my skin, this subject matter. SS300. SS300 is a very simple concept. It's not my concept. It's Liz Warren. She ran for president, and then Joe Biden adopted for president, and then he put his presidential platform at joebiden.com. Let's remember why they wanted to do SS300 in their words. The people who were hurt most economically by COVID and the lockdown were low-income individuals and people on benefits. Low-income individuals are households that make $75,000 or less, single individual or married couple, $150,000 or less. And then people on benefits like veterans and Social Security. They understood that because of COVID, it costs a lot more money to live and you are not making more money. So they wanted to give you more money. That was COVID. Now we have inflation all this year. Now we have 8% inflation. Now we have sustained 8% inflation. And when you have inflation, you go to buy something. If you're a veteran or a senior and you suddenly say, I bought this milk in February, it's $2 a gallon. Now it's $5. I don't know what I'm going to do. You go to the gas pump and suddenly you're paying $6 635 unleaded regular here in Los Angeles when it was, 490 last month. Then you said 490 was not sustainable. 635. I mean, you think that's sustainable? And suddenly, this is what Joe Biden said he was going to do. It's at joebiden.com. And this is why I always get a little bit peeved at this part of the recording. Swapping cola to inflation is so simple. It's just a darn phone call. It's just a phone call. Does not require an act of Congress. Does not need a Democrat or Republican. All you do is call the Social Security Administration head, say, this is your president. Swap cola for inflation. See you at lunch. That's it. Then they'd swap cola for inflation. Cola is a horrible benchmark. I mean, if you don't understand how horrible a benchmark it has been perceived for nearly 2 decades as the worst benchmark they could have ever had for your benefits. Now, when inflation is out of control and higher, and cola, gave you 5% in December, cola is still a horrible benchmark. If they swap from cola to inflation, you get 8% tonight. And that's at $200 more per month on average. $200 more per month on average would help you buffer these horrible costs of inflation. And then if we go into recession, that will help you be financially prepared for the recessionary pressures of 2023. Then if inflation stays high later this year, you get another raise across the board. Tonight, we have a lot of confusion about where those inflationary rates will be by the end of the year. I've been telling you for over 6 months that we're going to 4% inflation later this year. Jay Powell, with his laugh-a-minute comedy hour, continues to say 2% inflation by the end of the year. Yeah, when pigs fly, Jay, no one buys that silliness anymore. And you ain't going to get 2%. It's just silliness. It's just not believable. Now, England is saying it's going to raise interest rates, but it's still going to see inflation grow to 10% by December. Ouch. And then those analysts tonight saying that inflation may rise to 12% later this year. I sure hope it does not rise to 12%. But if inflation, let's say, is not 4% this December and is 8%, that means you would get another $200. That would mean you would get SS 400, not that month, but lifetime. This is why Joe Biden needs to make the phone call right tonight. And you get that benefit kick in within 30 days. Now, the great news is that there is you, there is me, and there are 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. And this is my dedication to you. This is why I prepare you. This is why I love you. This is why I get you these checks. These checks are the result of my efforts to find them. These are not checks that are on a milk carton. These are not checks that are on the front page of your local news. These are not checks that are on the national news. These are not checks in your local news station. No, these are checks that I found through my efforts to help you financially during this pandemic, financially during this inflationary pressures, and financially as we go into a big recessionary worry for next year. In the second half, we're going to go over these incredible checks and why you need to get them. What do you need to do before the commercial break? Step 1, subscribe. If you have not subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? You are watching the only channel like this in the United States. It will be the only channel like this for the next 2 years. And I'm showing you tonight the future of this channel in this recording over the next 2 years. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. Get that huge newsletter Monday through Friday. Do you see that Friday there? Yeah, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. And then in the second half of this video, we're going to go over these huge checks, upwards of $80,000 of checks in every U.S. state. Then we'll be going back over to what's going on with this economy and why situation is changing very much quicker than anyone thought. I'll have the latest details on that, and of course, how you can get check after check after check, and why the mindset is so important on getting these huge sums of money. Then we'll be looking at back what happened this week and what will be happening next week. It's a night like no other. It's a broadcast like no other. The fork is in the road, and are you going to take the right direction or are you not? Get that membership link signed up, and I'll see you back in 60 seconds. As the evening's Lalate, America's most watched show for financial news in prime time, continues this 1-hour special report in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook,
Twitter, and Instagram individuals, reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Late Daily for the excitement of the new LA Late live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA Late at 9 a.m. Home LA Late returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late.
And the details continue now on May 20th, 2022, from the shores of Santa Monica, California. It's Evenings LA. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over those big checks that have landed in every U.S. state and understand where this economy is going and why the situation is evolving so dramatically. Moreover, we're going to see for the first time on this channel tonight the future of this channel for the next 2 years. Tonight, the reality is set in. Tonight, millions of Americans understand something they did not understand back in February, with 81% of all Americans polled saying that there's going to be a recession in this economy by the end of this year. Let's go over the details of this starting right now, and good evening and God bless. If you are new to this channel, let me explain to you why this channel pressed record on day one, so you understand where we are tonight. Day one, when this channel pressed recordings, April 25th, 2020, means Americans were on lockdown, means Americans were losing their home, losing their businesses. They were unemployed. Financial distress was kicking in. They needed EIDL, PUA, FPUC, LWA, PPP. They needed a lot of money. They needed a lot of very quickly, and they needed it in the right place. We haven't had that sense of urgency like the massive lockdown of March 2020 until potentially tonight. Yeah, do you feel it? I feel it. I really feel that sense of financial urgency right tonight. Because I told you it was coming. I told you that it was going to take a little bit of time for people to start to feel the financial pressure that I have been reporting to you in this economy. You can see it, you can report it, but until you feel it, you don't know it's a mainstream discussion. And tonight, it is. Tonight, let's go over those first checks, and then we'll go back over this big news in a second. A fourth stimulus check is landing in every U.S. state, and I'm going to show you how to get these incredible checks starting right now. These four stimulus checks in every U.S. state are for you. Let's go over who can get it and who this money is for. These four stimulus checks in every U.S. state are, yes, in every U.S. state, for you if you are single and make less than $75,000. For you if you are married and make less than $150,000. For you if you're on benefits like SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veteran benefits. And for you if you rent, if you own, if you have children, if you don't have children, if you're young, if you're old. And with that, let's get some checks. There's a series of checks which I've divided by naming system on this channel, only for purposes of these recordings, the naming system, which I call check A, B, C, and D, and there will be more checks across the board. Check A first became apparent in early March, check B became apparent in March, check C became apparent late in March, and check D came around in April. Let's explain how these checks came to being right now. In December 2020, when the pandemic was really hitting badly, and we had the negotiations between Steve Mnuchin, then Treasury Secretary to Donald Trump, and Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, going on week after week and no deal, I felt your pain. You need money. It was the holidays. You needed rent. And I got people money, $250,000 of it. It's like that what became the epiphany back in March. We were watching, and no Build Back Better Act, no deal, no done. And I said, my viewers need money. My viewers need more money, and I found the more money. Where did it come from? It came from a series of buried executive orders from Joseph Biden, your president, They were not in broadcast media. They're not in print media. They're nowhere else. I found them. This is the result of a research effort by me every single day for hours on the hour. I spent a lot of time researching to get you money so that you can get it. The research efforts of this channel are unique. You're not going to see these recordings anywhere else. You're not going to see these checks anywhere else. They don't put the research effort time in. They don't cover the subject matter. That's why you're not going to see these checks mentioned anywhere else. The first check, you ready? Here we go. It's $6,500 to $12,000. Did I just wake you up? I think I did. Yeah, these are big checks. I don't mess around with my checks. These are not $600 measly little checks that can barely pay for a pair of lobster shorts. The first check is check A. It's $6,500 to $12,000. What is it? It's a four stimulus check. Yes, single individual, $75,000 less. A married couple, $150,000 less. Yes, if you're on benefits, SSI or veterans benefits, you can get it. How do you get this massive check of $6,500 to $12,000? So simple. You barely have to do anything. Step 1, subscribe to the channel. So simple. Step 2, become a member to this channel. Very simple. Step 3, open that membership newsletter, delivered Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, by me to you via the membership newsletter, via the YouTube alerts, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go down in the membership newsletter to where you find Check A and apply. In the membership newsletter, I give you the link to go apply online. Yes, it's an online application. Yes, you can do it with your phone. You can do it with your phone. You don't need a computer. You go right in. I give you the link in the membership newsletter, and you go right in and get that $6,500 or $12,000 application in and go get it. How simple is that? I do all the effort for you. You just have to open the membership newsletter, pounce, and do the application. But you're not stunned there yet. Oh, no, we're not. There is Check B, a four stimulus check in every U.S. state. How do you find that Check B? And first, do you see that number? My goodness, $15,000 to $80,000. Oh, baby, yes, it's true. I'm not messing around. I need you to get these massive sums of money. You know I'm about to say it. Yes, the recession, the inflation. I need you to get these massive paydays. I don't need you to be getting $200 checks. I need you to be getting tens of thousands of dollars of checks. This is the fork in the road. The person who stands by the mailbox saying, when is the Congress going to send me a $300 stimulus check? You know, that person going to stand there and lose the mailbox. The mailbox is going to be foreclosed upon because $300 ain't going to cut it. $80,000 does cut it. Pays a lot of bills for a long time. So how do you get that Check B? You go into the membership newsletter. Go down to Check B. Then there's a link. Apply. Go right in there, click the link, and apply. And get that application in right away. We're not done there yet. There's a Check C in every U.S. state. It's not just one Check C. It's a lot of them. It is rent. It is utilities. Lots of utilities. It is mortgage assistance. And it's more. How do you do this? So simple. In comparison to Check A and B, which involves a website, in the case of Check C, you're going to the membership newsletter, going down to Check C, and it tells you at Check C in the newsletter who to call. Yes, Check Cs are calling. You're calling for the money. I detail in the newsletter who you call, where you call, how you say it, and how quickly you do it. It's an MSC in many cases, $2,000 a month over 12 months. Many viewers are getting $45,000. Lots of viewers are getting over $130,000. It's the residue of third stimulus, but I call it fourth stimulus for purpose of clarification. Go get it. It's for renters and also homeowners. Let's go then to Check D. Check D is finally in the membership newsletter as well. It is not in every U.S. state, but it's in about 24 states, growing across the board. Go into the membership newsletter and go down there and get that check as well. The situation tonight is that the American economy is heading to recession. I've been reporting that since February, but now Americans are understanding as well. When Americans understand that we're going to recession, potentially thinking that it's happening sooner than I'm even reporting, then those consumer confidence numbers are going to drop dramatically. People who may have had big consumer confidence, pride in buying homes and spending money may not spend the money anymore. A lot of things happen when people think that there's a bad economic future at issue. First, they don't spend the money. In fact, they shouldn't. A series of new reports today say you got to save the money. You got to have the money and save it. Number one. Number two, they're going to bunker down like they bunkered down the start of the pandemic. They're not going to be going out and splurging and buying lots of fancy items that they don't inherently need. Number three, They're going to be worried how much worse it can be. And number four, if they work, they're going to be worried they're going to lose their job. Employment in the case of recession is very scary because people will get laid off and there'll be a hiring freeze. A hiring freeze means jobs will say, we're not hiring anyone, and you'll go door to door looking for jobs and suddenly realize, wait a second, what happened in 6 months? We had a labor shortage just a few weeks ago where every job was offering bonuses to get hired, and now they don't even want to hire anyone. That is what happens with a recession. Let's turn over to Jay Powell. Jay Powell is going to do half basis point indefinitely. Buried in all this economic news is that shocking quote by Jay Powell midweek this week where he said, you know what? I'm going to keep on hitting as hard as I got to hit it. And I'm going to do a half basis point indefinitely. And what's Jay Powell going to do? He's going to drive you in recession. The Federal Reserve has driven this economy into recession before, and this time it's really going to do it. And the quote from Jay Powell says, you know what? I'm going to double down. I'm doing this. So let me explain to you what Jay Powell's going to give you. He's going to give you higher rates on anything that you have flexible. Try to eliminate anything that's flexible in your universe, such as credit card debt. Try to eliminate it right away. Car loans or home mortgage loans. Anything that is a flexible rate instrument. You need to get rid of it right away and lock in a stock rate, a stable rate. Because what he's doing is raising those rates. And overnight, Jim Cramer said that maybe Jay Powell needs to come in with a 1%, not half basis or quarter basis point increase in June. I would subscribe to that if it works, but it doesn't. Why? Because the supply chain disruption at issue today is really bad. And in fact, it's so complicated, as we see in these retail sales numbers, it's very hard to report. When we talk about supply chain disruption, we usually talk about can't get the product. I mean, you can't get the product, like Apple saying we don't have the component parts to go into the phone. Third quarter 2022 is going to be horrible. Supply chain disruption is much more complicated than that. It's often we can't get the product shipped on time. They come late. We can't order the products ahead of time. We can't stage things accordingly. It's not always that you just can't get the product. And what happens when you have extra inventory? The inventory stays there and you lose your shirt. So supply chain disruption is very, very pronounced. And Jay Powell has no tools to fix it across the board. Now, let's go back to why it's so important to get these 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state tonight. This is where this channel is going. And I'm so happy you're tuning in tonight. I really, really need you to watch all the videos throughout the day. Because there's so much news, I can't even show you what's on set and below me, but it's literally this thick. My notes that I would love to record in just this video, I don't have time. And so I'm spanning it over many recordings. I need to watch all the videos throughout the day. But let's talk about your money. The issue is that, however bad you think it is now, it's going to be exceptionally worse later this year. And while 81% of Americans think we're going to recession later this year, I'm believing it's starting next year, and it's going to be 2 years. If you've never gone through a recession, it's a horrible financial time. And that horrible financial time will not look like March 2020, when people were just throwing stimulus left and right, and PUA and EIDL and FPUC. So for me to tell you what Congress is going to do in the middle of a recession in 2023, I don't know what they're going to do. No one even knows what the Congress is going to look like next year. No one's going to know what the president can do by executive order. All I can record is what's available right now. And all the big financial analysts say, if you've got the ability to get cash, hoard it. Hoard the cash right now, because the situation is going to get very, very bad very quickly. So with that, let's bring it back to you and me. This is why I hit so hard 2 weeks ago with a lot of tough love on this channel. You got to get the money now, and you got to stop with everything else that you see around you. If you are one of those people who have applied for check A, B, and C, I'm not talking to you. You're doing the right thing. If you're the person like Anisi who keeps on going back and getting another check for utilities, you're doing the right thing. If you're the person who got rent from one of the nonprofits, then went back to another nonprofit, you're doing the right thing. If you're a member, you're doing the right thing. I'm talking about the other people. They're probably not even watching the video tonight, but get ready. They'll be on this channel in 3 months from now. They will be on this channel in 3 months from now. The traffic will go through the roof, because guess what? They're going to start to feel the real financial pressures. They're going to absolutely feel it like a brick hitting. And they're going to come in saying, where's my stimulus check? When's it landing in my bank account? I'm going to say, no, that's not how it works anymore. This is how you do it this time. It's been around since March and it's running out of money. What? Why do I have to do that? Well, guess what? If you want to become uninformed, if you want to stay uninformed, unprepared, behind the eight ball, behind on the developing details, not caught up, not on top of the situation, it's going to be really bad for you. It's going to be really bad for you in 2023 and 2024. And all I can say is I'm recording for you who are watching tonight. I'm recording for you who are watching tonight. I care for you and I love that you're watching tonight. And together, I can help you, and together you can get that independence set up before the storm out to sea, which I've been reporting about for a few months, comes on land. It's hard to say what day that storm is going to come on land, but we already feel the pressures tonight with companies like PayPal and Under Armour and a lot of major corporations down 75%, 52-week high for their stocks. That means that if anyone bought the stock this year, they're already losing their shirt. What about housing? Housing is going to fall dramatically. The housing starts going down already, but the glut of the housing market is going to really implode that. And we'll see that in about 2 months from now as the inventory builds up and they don't go into contract. They can't sell them because no one can afford a 5.9% mortgage rate. Then we're going to have all the other questions at issue. Joe Biden may scramble and try to get that student loan debt announced. I think he should. The $10,000 would really help people right across the board. Many insiders believe the president will forgive $10,000 of student loan debt. I've been telling you I think he's holding it for the midterm elections, but I got to tell you, he's going to have to do something really quickly on this one. It's going to look very, I want to choose the right adjective, disconcerting or not considerate if he holds it and just sort of announces it, in October or September. Why? People are struggling on this issue. I understand you're not having to pay the debt right yet, but this is something looming over your head. Just forgive the darn $10,000 right tonight. The president's already forgiven student loan debt, 7 stimulus for individuals who became disabled after graduation, went to work in the nonprofit or public sector, and people who were defrauded by the university. But he emphatically said he would not forgive $50,000. Why not forgive $10,000 and call it a day and move on to the next economic issue, which of course is SS 300? Why not get one item done and move on to the next one? It's times like this that I wonder myself, what's going on here? I've recorded enough times over the last 2 years, whether it was Trump or Biden, where things just move slowly. And I say can't move slowly when the tsunami's out to sea and it's looking right at shore. And when it comes to student loan debt forgiveness, it needs to be done right away. Talk about that SS 300, needs to be done right away. For you and I, let's go back to the core. Let's go back to the core. If you rent, if you own, if you have children, if you don't have children, if you're on SSI, SSDI, if you're not, if you're a veteran, if you're not, if you're young, if you're old, go get these checks. Get as many checks as you can and go get another check. Then keep on getting checks because these checks will be the subject of a stimulus stampede in 3 months from now. We haven't seen a stimulus stampede on this channel for a while, and I'm just predicting that stimulus stampede is going to hit very quickly. I did not think that 81% of Americans would think that a recession is coming this early, or that they would give a poll number like 81%. I mean, in February, to think that off camera I said to someone recession this next year, and they looked at me crazy. Then I said, maybe I should actually record this because I need to tell people about this. And you thought I was crazy. And when I said 8% inflation last year, and people thought I was crazy. When I said it was continued and not going to be transitory, people thought I was crazy. But tonight, I hope you don't think I'm crazy when I say get every darn check you can get, because cash is king. You put that cash away and you hoard as much cash as you can. Because when the storm hits on land, watch this channel, watch the live chat 90 days from now. There's going to be a sea of people in there saying, I need a check, I need a check, I need a check. What do you got? What do you got? When's the land of my direct deposit? They don't care. They don't want it. All those types of things they say. I'm going to sit back saying, hey, we got our applications in March. We got our applications in April and May. We pounced and got 25,000 as one viewer got last night. We got these checks. You should have gotten it with us as well. If there's money still available when those new viewers show up, good. But if the new viewer shows up in 3 months from now and says, I just want things to be done to me the way it was done in 2020, Folks, this ain't 2020. A recession is not 2020. A recession is not 2021. Recession is not 2022. A recession is like nothing we've ever seen before. It is a financial implosion of stocks, bonds, housing, labor, everything. And what's important to know is that when there's checks available now, why not get it? There's a storm out to sea, and I have a lifesaver here on the beach for you to grab. Get the lifesaver. I'm not saying that $80,000 will sustain you for 2 years, but at least it'll help you start off before we see what else goes on with Congress. Grab these 4 stimulus checks. Do not wait. Step 1 is to subscribe. I can't say this more emphatically than I can. You got to watch the videos. You got to watch the videos all throughout the day, because it's becoming the point that there's so much breaking news by the hour, by the minute, that I can't even carry it from one video to the other. Let's see if I can do this. As I knock out the phone, here in the microphone. Look at this. I mean, this is today. Yeah, I can't have you miss videos, because if you miss videos, you could miss checks. If you miss videos, you could miss financial news. If you miss videos, you could miss big predictions of where we are 2 weeks from now, 3 months from now, or 30 days from now. And so tune in every morning at Early Mornings LA. It starts early at 4 a.m. In fact, it starts earlier than that. Sunrise at 3 a.m. and 3:30. Then we have Early Mornings LA at 4 a.m. At 7 a.m., it's Mornings Countdown. 9 a.m. live on air with Mornings LA. Then 11 a.m. is our countdown show or routing show, in which I go over how long does it take to get these checks. It's noontime at 11 a.m. We got the 1 o'clock afternoon show, the 3 o'clock brand new show every day on afternoons. And then the evening shows, got to watch them. The 5, Evenings LA. The 6, Evenings Countdown. The 7, Street and Stimulus. The 8, Extra. The 9, Sunset. And of course, the LA Live show that airs throughout the night and throughout the day. You got to get these checks. You got to start by becoming a subscriber. Go to the top of the channel, hit the subscribe button. Step 2, there's a little bell. Make sure you hit that bell and put the notification to all on. Number 3, become a member. Membership link where it says join under the video. Hit it right now. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Number 4, I think we're on 4. Get that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Watch for that announcement. That sends you an announcement at 7 p.m. New LA Post. And you go right in there, and there it is. If you have questions about finding the newsletter, you can't find it, send me a private message on Facebook, and I'll answer you and give you directions. And we also have an informational video, which I could send you, that apparently people love and helps them find everything they need to know about these big checks. And with that, we are going to be good. You and I are going to be good. We are a community. We are a tight-knit community. We see things ahead of time. We prepare ahead of time. And we don't just prepare a day ahead of time, we prepare 6 months ahead of time. Tonight, for May 20th, 2022, 81% of Americans believe the recession is upon us later this year. I'm not saying that they're right or they're wrong. I'm saying that they're all going to be looking for stimulus. They're all going to be looking for this money. They're all going to be asking for the money you've gotten. And when they do, they will be here. They will be asking of that money. Where is it? I want it. And the money that I'm being reported in this channel that's a 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state will eventually run out of funds. That's why you can't wait in a minute to get those funds. You need to get them tonight. It starts by becoming a member, subscribing, and staying with me throughout the night. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, to the shores of every coast of this country, God bless you all. I'll see you throughout the night, and we will see what happens next to this economy as LA continues. Have a beautiful night. I'll be with you all weekend long. Stay with Lalate for more.